To me, it boils down to three very basic things. Number one, the very basic things. Number one, you said one of them. Mets lineup is better. Mets are better today than they were yesterday. Number one. Number two, and on some level for me, this is also kind of number one, but it's close. The fans are happy, and I think that that's awesome. And number three, and this is paramount to future success, they didn't do anything to compromise their ability and their flexibility to get Vlad Guerrero. It's a win for everybody.
Okay, and number four, because you know my biggest issue, I agree with everything that you just said, but my biggest issue was, and I felt like it was going to happen, but I was like, this would be a mistake. I just had this conversation the other day for 4 hours.
No?
It would be a mistake for both sides at this particular point because I wanted Pete back, but I wanted a happy Pete back. Well, in this scenario, the Mets figured out a way to make Pete Alonso happy at least for 1 year. He had the option of a 3-year deal for lesser money. Pete chose to bet on himself again. There's more layers to that, which we'll get to, but he gets the highest salary this year for a first baseman with $30 million a year and a $10 million bonus. So that is a significant overpay. A significant overpay, which means Alonso is not going to come in necessarily with his head down or his tail between his legs. He can walk in proud as a peacock because he can say, hey, I'm the highest paid first baseman in baseball this year. Plus you add the $10 million bonus. That's $40 million a year for a player who's worth maybe half of that. So the idea of having a happy Pete back, I think that they kind of got that with the way that this deal is structured. And now, BT, now it's on the big boy to go out there and produce. I don't want to see 217. I don't want to see a paltry 34 homers and 80 ribbies. You're getting paid $30 million plus that bonus. You've got Juan Soto and Vientos going to be around you in that lineup in some way, shape, or form. Lindor in front of you as well.
Yeah.
No more excuses. You've had 2 down years. You got paid like a star. Go produce like a star. And if he does, then I think the sky is the limit for this ball club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to get into that now. Like the bottom third of the order, some things I want to see, and obviously I would like one more arm as a starting pitcher. But no, the Mets offense, certainly 1 through 5, 1 through 6, especially if Alvarez is ready to take a step, the Mets offense is going to be very fun to watch. It'll be fun to watch, and they could beat you in a lot of different ways. A little pop, a little speed, a little patience on base. Like it's that's why I say it's a win-win. Now, I don't even really look at it as an overpay. I know what you mean. Is he really truly the best first baseman like in baseball? The answer is no. That doesn't
$30 million a year is a superstar. You're getting paid for a star level.
Understood. But the reason why I don't get wrapped, yes. And when you look at what Christian Walker got, $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Now Goldschmidt's older. Goldschmidt's getting $12.5 million for 1 year for the Yankees. So $30 million looks good. There's sizzle, and Pete can kind of hang his hat on that. And as you say, walking like a proud peacock. I get that. But like even if he had a down year, and by the way, if Pete Alonso has a down year with some of these pieces around him, then he just really definitely is not the guy and he's got to go. I don't think he has a down year. I think he has a good year. We'll find out. But even if he replicated a year ago, 34 home runs, 87, 88, 89 ribbies, whatever, it's still more, in my opinion, than the Mets would have gotten from the combination of Vientos at first and whatever they were going to do at third base. So, yeah, 34 and 89 is not worth 30, but it's worth 20. It's worth 22, and the extra $7-8 million for Cohen, whatever.
Right, so no big deal as far as
not
that.
a big deal
I'm
at
just
all.
saying that it is an overpay for him, which should make him happy. But I'd also like to see Pete Alonso thinks he is a superstar. A lot of Met fans believe Pete Alonso is a superstar. I would say that he was playing like a star, certainly his first year in the big leagues, and then he had a couple of seasons where he was superstar-like. That has not been the case in 2 years.
No.
Pete Alonso bet on himself a couple of years ago when he turned down that deal, and he failed miserably. Pete Alonso, again, take 2, betting on himself going into this year. We will, once and for all, find out what Pete Alonso is made of. And it's not just about the numbers to me, it's about the impact. I want big home runs. I want to see that prowess. We know he's going to hit homers, but when is he going to hit those homers? There's going to be plenty of opportunity, maybe the greatest opportunity he's ever had with all the pieces around him. This is the deepest lineup he's been in. You could argue that this is the deepest Mets lineup since 2006. That's how loaded they are with the addition of Soto and now bringing back Pete. Will he produce with impact, with the pressure on, another year older, all that's gone on? Let's see what the big boy's made of.
Yeah, and it's going to be a fun watch, man. I got to tell you this, though. When you look at where we are and what could have happened, like Pete, they could have kicked this down the road and Boomer could have been wearing that L chain for another month, and he shows up at Port St. Lucie, and he's 12, 13 pounds out of shape, and he gets hurt, and at least this does set the Mets season up to get out of the chute quickly, and there are going to be a lot of checkpoints, as Sal just talked about. You got Lindor, you got Vientos, you got Soto, you got pressure, you got weapons around you, and now you got a nice little $30 million attached to your name, not to mention the $10 million bonus. You got to go out there and you got to rise to the occasion, put up numbers, and that discussion and that chapter will be written over time today, and those are very pertinent things. I'm not trying to dismiss them. Today, honestly, today's an awesome day for the Mets. Today is an awesome day for the Mets organization. It's an awesome day for the Met fan. It's just good stuff. It's good stuff for me.
Yeah, I
love it.
I don't know. I start to think about it differently. What's the big deal? Okay, great. Pete Alonso.
Well, the big deal is Met fans love him. That's the big deal.
Okay, and I want to know why.
Well, because here's
the thing. I don't care that he's home. This is just
I know you don't. No, I get this. I know you don't care.
You know what I care? Well, so what's the number one thing you think I care about then?
You want to win.
I want to see production, which leads to winning. That's what I care about. Has Pete Alonso produced to the levels that we've expected him to produce the last 2 seasons?
No, but if he wasn't on the team, the production would not, even at his worst year, that's not happening from somebody playing third base.
I'm not saying this is a bad day. What I'm saying now is, okay, and really what this is, BT, if we get to it, it's delaying the inevitable.
That's why I said before, we're going to be doing this again next year.
Because you're saying that the Met fan is happy, which they are today.
I think the Met fan's ecstatic. Not happy.
But
I think they're over the moon.
But ultimately, the Met fan wanted Pete Alonso back long term.
I think that changed, Sal. I think that used to be the case. I think that there was an awakening and we'll get the call, so maybe I'm wrong. I think that there was an awakening where I think the Met fans understood maybe more than they did. Maybe they suppressed it. And maybe, quite frankly, they needed a second down year across the board with some stats. I think that they've recalibrated in their minds the player that Pete is. And I think most intelligent Met fans are now able to prioritize different things and still include the emotion and sentimentality, but not have it override the baseball stuff. I don't think any Met fan, well, I shouldn't say any. Yeah. I think a small percentage of Met fan would want him to sign a 5, 6, 7-year deal. I think that's why I say today's a great day, because just today, February, 7, 6, whatever, today the Met fan, I believe, is so happy, and I believe they should be, for their guy and their team today and this year. But then next year, guess what? They know Vladdy's better, and they also know that that's a real possibility.
Yeah, see, I'm not sure about that. That's where we disagree. I agree today they're happy that they got their guy back. I think that there are some Met fans who prefer Alonso than Guerrero because he's their guy.
Oof. Well, then that would be off base.
Well, and by the way, we'll see how it plays out, because last year, a lot of Met fans were ready to kick Pete out until the postseason. And then he had the big postseason. It was like, hey, myself included, hey, welcome back at a good value. At the end of everything, think about this. Pete Alonso, who turned down the 160 for 7 years. Pete Alonso, who wished in his mind he was going to get upwards of 250 Aaron Judge type money. He got $54 million for 2 years. And in the best case scenario for him, it's going to be a 1-year deal that he opts out and looks to do it again.
But I think it's a blessing in disguise for the Mets. We always look at it from Pete's perspective. Yeah, I mean, all right. I mean, 30's not nothing, but 30's 1 year and that's it.
Right.
And even on an atrocious year, which again, just what's around him, I don't expect that this year. Although the pressure's still there, and he didn't handle the pressure very well a year ago. I just think that he plays well enough to justify it, and I think the Mets offense without Pete Alonso would have been it would have been impotent because of Soto and Lindor and Vientos. This stretches things out. Now I can look at the Mets and say, all right, now you're not the third best team on paper in the division. This just changes a lot for me.
BT and Sal on the Fan. Our friends at Town Fair Tire remind you that at Town Fair Tire, you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. Larry is in Westchester. What's up, Larry?
Hey, BT, Sal, how you guys doing?
Great. What's up?
Hey, Larry.
Listen to me. I think it was a great deal for both sides. I mean, Alonso, he got overpaid, no doubt about it, but he's going to be happy coming into the camp. And on the Mets end, I don't think they really care if he has, they care. They want him to have a huge year to help him win. But BT, you hit the nail on the head. Their long-term goal, they're going to make a huge play for Vladdy at the end of this year. That's what their long-term goal is. So, again, I don't think they really care if he walks or not after this year. Yeah. The other thing with the Mets, they still need to do one more thing. they got to get this guy or Michael King or Dylan Cease. They got to lengthen that rotation. What do you think?
Boy, that would be a power flex. Huh? We touched on this. I think, were you out?
I was
think,
out.
Yeah, you
with the
were
Cease
out.
Stuff. Or King even.
Yeah.
I mean, see, this is what I mean. This is what is tough to take.
Go ahead.
How many years have we sat here and complained and yelled and screamed with good reason about any team, but in particular with the Mets? And they just now bring back Alonso. Like, for me, their offseason was already very good. They bring back Alonso, the cherry on top. And the first call that we take is like, this is a great move for both sides. Now they got to go get Dylan Cease and Michael King.
I would have a problem with that. Yeah, it does take away a little bit of the celebration, or at least the moment now. I would have an issue with it if, like, I looked at this Mets team and they were stacked and locked and loaded. Then I'm like, all right, we're getting a little greedy here. I think the Mets need another arm. I agree with him. I've said that all
but
year.
you don't need it right now.
Well, no, I mean, yeah, you don't have to do it at 10:13 today, the day after you get Pete, but you'd like to get it before you go to Port St. Lucie in a couple of days, because I think they need it.
Well, why? You don't think the Yankees need a third baseman?
I'm not talking about the Yankees.
I know, but your argument for the Yankees saying, oh, well, they could just get a guy in season. Well, the Mets could do the same thing. Like,
well, that's true.
I don't know what more people, like the Mets sign Juan Soto, they sign A.J. Minter, they bring in pitchers like now you could say that Clay Holmes is going to be good or Frankie Montas. It may pan out that way. Their rotation may in fact be thin. We also thought that their rotation last year was going to be thin. So, like, you just got to sit back and trust Stearns. If it doesn't work, he's going to get ridiculed for it. But, like, they got to make every move before spring training now. How much more do you want them to do? Maybe they do trade for Dylan Cease. I don't know, but I can't sit here and say, well, they got to go trade for this guy or that guy. I think their rotation right now is okay, and their lineup is really good. It should be as good as anybody in the NL East. Maybe not outside the Dodgers, maybe as good as anybody, like their team as a whole. I just can't, like, I can't do the, and then they need this, and then they need that. They'll get whatever pieces they need.
I don't have a problem with time. Yeah. I really don't. I mean, listen. I've been saying this now. I like the Clay Holmes move. I do think he's going to transition well, and I thought that was a very astute move by the Mets there. I don't like Montas. I love Minaya. I think he's the real deal. I like Senga. I want to see him be healthy. Like, I'm gonna cut away a little risk here. I'm gonna cut away some risk. And you only get so many years. We talked about you brought up the Yankees with third base, but you talk about the Yankees in the prime of Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge. Like, you're not gonna have Lindor forever in the meat of his prime. And you got Soto. He's 25. There's no guarantee Pete's back next year. And I don't mean like recklessly going for it, but this is stuff that I've been saying on the show for a couple of months now. Like, Soto, amazing acquisition. Amazing. Pete, it finalizes the lineup. I think they need another arm.
Yeah,
I really do.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, like,
why today?
Well, or even like, does it have to be right now? To your point about the Yankees, which I think is a valid one, we could sit here and say, well, they need a third baseman. They can't go in with DJ LeMahieu, but okay, well, what's the worst that could happen? The Yankees are, 10 games above 500 at the All-Star or trade deadline.
Yeah.
They go get a third. Like, if they feel like they need a third baseman, they'll go get one.
True.
Same thing with a starter. Whoever shakes free. Now, if Cease gets moved.
Well, that's where I was going. There's a level of urgency attached to this. Like, the Padres seem very motivated to change their payroll, and the last thing you want to do is say, we'll get them at the trade deadline. And I don't know, the Braves, who lost Max Fried. They go out and get one of those guys. Like, if I'm the Mets, and by the way, I think Stearns is so into it that he's going to play for everything.
Right.
I don't think he's asleep at the wheel.
Right.
I have no issue with the call they're saying, go and get an arm. I think you need one, and if you got one, who knows what you guys could do this year.
Here's how this works then, right? And we've been down this road. The Mets get Juan Soto, and it's like, okay, well, now what? And now they get Pete Alonso back with Juan Soto, not to mention the other moves that they got, and now what? And then they'll get Dylan Cease and be like, I still feel like they're another arm short, or, I don't know about the DH spot. Like, it just doesn't end. It's just you always want more. It's enough already. Like, that's where I have the issue with fans. You just signed Alonso. Enjoy it for a second, will you? Bob is in Congress. What's up, Bob?
Bobby.
Hey, I get a conspiracy theory here with Pete Alonso. Don't you guys remember when Cohen tried to talk to Stern from Milwaukee and they denied permission? So he was like a lame duck out there for a year. So while he's out there, he tried to trade for Pete Alonso, knowing this headache was coming down the road. I think this whole contract here is just Steve Cohen stepping in.
No, it's not. It's not, and thank you for the call, Bob. That's just factually incorrect. David Stearns wanted Pete Alonso back. Now, Hav, you're telling me, we were trying to get clarification on this. Yeah. I assumed that the bonus was in addition.
That's what I thought, too. Otherwise, it's not a bonus. Yeah. It's just part of the 30 mil.
Well, if it is, right.
You know what I mean?
Well, if it isn't in addition to,
then it's not a bonus.
Then he's only getting $20 million for the year plus a bonus. So he's only getting $20 million a year plus a bonus? That doesn't seem to make any sense. We have definitive clarification on that. Either way, the deal, the way it was reported and written last night was 2 years, $54 million for the 2 years.
Yes.
With an opt-out after the first year.
Yep.
Plus a $10 million bonus.
That's what I thought, which really, in my mind, I'm sitting here saying it's really 64. Year 2 is $24 million if he opts out. He's got 30 no matter what he does this year. The moment he signs contract, it's $10 million. Here you go.
Right, for the
Let's
bonus.
invest that.
Yeah.
And then the season starts, bang, you get paid 30. And then next year, if you stay, you get 24.
It wouldn't make any other sense otherwise. Again, I don't know how the bonus stuff works. But
I don't know either, but it's more prevalent. Like, you didn't hear guys getting bonuses back in the day unless they won the Cy Young or something.
Why wouldn't then the report be 2 years for
64?
44?
Oh. I don't know. It's a good question.
$20 million the first year plus
confused.
a $10 million bonus.
I don't know.
You can just clarify that. Either
Is it
way.
tax? Let me ask you a question, Sal. Is it like threshold purposes? It probably is. Like if you take the $10 million, maybe that's not applied to the actual. What's taxable for the various levels of taxes? I don't know.
Yeah, I got to find.
There's got to be some advantage for the team.
Ron is in Northport. What's up, Ron?
Yeah, hi guys, you're the best. I was going to call. I am very happy with the signing, the opt out, whatever. It gives the Mets flexibility. If he has a great year, they can always extend him if they want to. And I think that the only place the Mets are getting hurt is if he has a horrible year, they're stuck with him for another year. But I guess we're willing to live with that, and they can always switch him to DH and still sign Guerrero. One other quick point: the deal was definitely $20 million first year plus $10 million bonus. 24 the second year.
Yeah, which is, to me, even cheaper, Ron, and thank you for the call. So I was just checking in with Andy Martino, just getting it confirmed. 1 year, $30 million deal with a $24 million player option for 2, straightforward. So that's it. So, like, whatever they said, the bonus language is not in addition to, which makes it even cheaper then for the Mets.
So
and
maybe he's not happy.
That's what I was going to say.
Maybe we got things to worry about. Maybe he's not happy.
Well, that's a whole nother part of the conversation. I would think that he would be. I mean, think about that.
That is a little confusing. I mean, listen, Andy's on top of it, so.
He's not the only one. I just trust him, so I texted him just to confirm. Hoff was saying it. I was getting texts elsewhere as well saying that that's the case. That to me just doesn't make any sense. Why even put the $10 million bonus in there then?
I don't know. Does it make it seem maybe for like a perceptual win from Boris's perspective? Like, hey, make
Still got 30.
Yeah, like because think about
10 of that was a bonus technically, and like you said, maybe it's tax, bro. Who the hell knows?
Maybe people aren't doing digging because this is one of the things we were talking about before the show. We were very curious about that. Is it $10 million then 30, then 24? Is it $10 million baked into the 30, then the 24? And don't you think about this, Sal? Your agent comes out, Sal Links, 2-year extension with WFAN, X amount of money. He gets an X bonus, and he gets this for the first year. And if he wants to stick around, he gets this. It just seems more agent player friendly. It just seems bigger, grander.
Yeah. So $20 million salary plus $10 million in bonus this year. That's how you get to $30 million. Still, $30 million is still the highest paid first baseman, but that's a lot different. I mean, it's a $10 million difference,
it's a
at
little
least
different.
in my mind.
Yeah.
But you would expect, hey, Pete chose to bet on himself here, right?
Yep.
He chose to bet on himself. He wanted the $30 million this year to be the highest paid first baseman in the game. Now he's going to have to go out there and produce, and then from there, maybe he gets a bigger contract. Who knows?
I want to tell you one thing coming up. We obviously have to take a break here, get to these calls. Met fans are fired up. Maybe not all of you, but I can't wait to get to all these calls today. There's something about the move, and it has actually nothing to do with Pete, that I think actually benefits the Mets more than actually Pete coming back.
Okay, we'll get to that when we come back. Many layers to this conversation as well. 888-808-1019, BT and Sal on the Fan.